announcing today a major show of military force in the region.
In one of the most strategically crucial regions of the world, a potential flashpoint for global conflict simmers beneath the surface. Welcome to the Caribbean, a region known for its vibrant cultures, beautiful beaches, and turbulent history. But what if this peaceful setting became the stage for a military confrontation with one of the largest oil-producing countries in the world? Venezuela? Imagine this. An American aircraft carrier strike group navigates through the narrow, contested waters of the Caribbean, facing increasing threats from Venezuelan forces. The world watches as tensions rise, and the military might of two nations comes into sharp focus. But it's not just a battle of guns and missiles. It's a race against time, where every decision counts. Every move could be the difference between war and peace, and the stakes could reshape the global balance of power. Venezuela, despite being a smaller player on the world stage in terms of military size, possesses a surprising array of capabilities. From anti-ship missiles to long-range rockets, Venezuela has developed a strategy aimed at defending its sovereignty and securing its vast oil reserves. This country, which once had the largest oil reserves on the planet, has the potential to disrupt the world's energy markets and trigger massive economic consequences. So why should we care? The Caribbean is more than just a tourist destination. It's an energy corridor, and control over this passage means control over one of the world's most critical resources: oil. With Venezuela sitting on top of vast reserves, any military conflict here could send shockwaves throughout global energy prices, affecting everything from the cost of gas to the stability of nations thousands of miles away. But the story doesn't end there. In a conflict like this, where rapid decisions must be made in a matter of seconds, the role of technology is absolutely crucial. From advanced sensor networks to cutting-edge missile defense systems, how would the U.S. military respond to threats in real time? And how would Venezuela, facing the might of a U.S. Navy strike group, counter these technological advantages? In this video, we'll dive deep into the high-stakes game of military strategy, exploring the potential conflict in the Caribbean, the technological arms race, and the role of global energy security. We'll look at how defense systems like Aegis and THAAD would interact with Venezuela's rocket and missile capabilities. We'll analyze the military strategies of both nations and examine the global implications of a conflict that could escalate far beyond the region. From potential economic disaster to geopolitical instability, the ripple effects of a confrontation in the Caribbean could be felt across the globe. In this high-risk game of chess, every move could trigger a series of events that could change the world as we know it. Stay tuned, because the stakes are higher than you might think. The Caribbean has long been a region synonymous with vibrant culture, tropical landscapes, and strategic importance. Stretching from the Gulf of Mexico to the Caribbean Sea, and surrounded by vast oceanic waters, it has seen countless battles, both economic and military, fought over its resources, trade routes, and geopolitical positioning. Today, the region holds even greater significance as a hub of energy transportation, particularly when it comes to oil shipments. Venezuela, one of the largest oil producers in the world, lies at the heart of this strategic puzzle, controlling vast reserves that shape global energy markets. However, the Caribbean's role as an energy artery could soon find itself at the center of a brewing conflict, one that could potentially trigger a geopolitical earthquake. Venezuela, with its extensive oil reserves, has long been a key player in global energy markets. The country sits atop some of the world's largest untapped reserves, accounting for more than 20% of the world's known oil resources. These reserves make Venezuela an energy superpower, but also a target for anyone looking to gain control of the future of global oil. While the country has faced years of internal instability, political turmoil, and economic decline, its strategic importance has never waned. The Caribbean is a vital energy passageway, and any conflict in the region involving Venezuela would have consequences that ripple far beyond the islands and coastal waters. At the same time, the United States maintains a significant naval presence in the Caribbean. The U.S. Navy operates numerous bases and facilities throughout the region, with the strategically important Panama Canal linking the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans. For decades, the U.S. has maintained a policy of ensuring stability in the Caribbean, often using its military might to protect its interests, particularly when it comes to the free flow of oil and trade. In the past, the U.S. has intervened in the region, such as during the 1989 invasion of Panama or the 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis, where the stakes of controlling access to the Caribbean were higher than ever. But imagine a scenario where tensions between the U.S. and Venezuela reach a boiling point. The Venezuelan government, which in this hypothetical situation has grown increasingly bold due to the rise of a new nationalist leader, has developed sophisticated defense systems designed to protect its sovereignty, including anti-ship missiles capable of targeting large naval vessels, such as aircraft carriers and destroyers. The presence of such powerful weaponry, combined with Venezuela's geographic position in close proximity to vital maritime routes, would create a dangerous flashpoint for U.S. naval forces in the Caribbean. In this scenario, a U.S. Navy strike group, consisting of the USS George H.W. Bush aircraft carrier and its accompanying destroyers and cruisers, sails through the Caribbean Sea en route to a joint military exercise in the Pacific. As the group passes near Venezuela's territorial waters, the Venezuelan military, now equipped with long-range, high-tech anti-ship missiles, takes an aggressive stance. They are ready to test their newly acquired weapon systems in an act of defiance against perceived U.S. imperialism. The U.S. response is swift and calculated. The military's advanced sensors, which can detect even the slightest movement in the sky and sea, identify multiple missile launches from Venezuelan shore batteries. U.S. Navy ships, equipped with Aegis combat systems and other state-of-the-art missile defense technology, deploy countermeasures, intercepting the incoming threats. However, the presence of Venezuela's new Almirante Cajigal missile defense system, a next-generation countermeasure platform capable of tracking and jamming U.S. radar, adds an unexpected layer of complexity to the situation. In this tense environment, every move becomes a high-stakes calculation. The U.S. must navigate not only military threats, but also the diplomatic consequences of escalating tensions with a country that controls such a crucial energy lifeline. Venezuela's oil production has already taken a downturn due to years of mismanagement and sanctions. But any disruption in the flow of oil through the Caribbean would create a global energy crisis, potentially driving oil prices to unprecedented heights. Even the slightest disruption in the region could result in a dramatic surge in global oil prices, affecting everything from the price of gasoline to the stability of nations that rely heavily on energy imports. This conflict would be about much more than just territorial disputes or military power. It would have a profound effect on the global economy, as nations that depend on Venezuelan oil could see their economies spiral into crisis. The U.S. Navy's presence would likely grow stronger in the Caribbean, as both sides would seek to assert control over this crucial maritime region. Global energy markets, already frail in the face of shifting geopolitical dynamics, would face a severe shock, with oil prices climbing to unimaginable heights. The world would be forced to reckon with a new reality in which the Caribbean, once a symbol of paradise, becomes a battleground for control of the future of global energy security. Venezuela's growing role as a geopolitical power could be the catalyst that sets off a much larger global conflict, as nations scramble to secure their own energy supplies and safeguard the lifelines of international trade. The Caribbean, once a tranquil setting for tropical getaways, is becoming a strategic battleground where military technology, global economics, and national pride collide. The future of the region, and possibly the world, rests on the balance of power in the Caribbean, and that balance is anything but certain. As tensions rise between the United States and Venezuela in the Caribbean, the question of defense and countermeasures becomes ever more critical. The region, a vital artery for global oil transport, is about to witness a confrontation where military capabilities, intelligence, and rapid decision-making will determine the course of events. While the U.S. Navy boasts unparalleled technological superiority, Venezuela has made significant strides in fortifying its defensive capabilities, shifting the balance of power in the region. In this high-stakes scenario, defense strategies will not only be about firepower, but also about intelligence, communication, and the ability to react in real time. The United States, in this fictional scenario, has stationed a formidable aircraft carrier strike group in the Caribbean, an imposing display of naval power. The USS George H.W. Bush, accompanied by several destroyers, cruisers, and attack submarines, is on a routine deployment through the region. These ships are equipped with the Aegis combat system, one of the most advanced missile defense systems in the world. The Aegis system is capable of tracking hundreds of incoming threats simultaneously and intercepting them with remarkable accuracy. This technology has been designed to counter a range of missile threats, from short-range artillery to advanced cruise and ballistic missiles. It's this very system that forms the backbone of the U.S. Navy's defense against potential attacks from enemy forces. However, Venezuela has not been standing still. In recent years, it has invested heavily in enhancing its military capabilities. With the support of some international allies, Venezuela has acquired sophisticated anti-ship missile systems, capable of targeting and destroying even the most formidable naval vessels. The fictional Cacique anti-ship missile, developed with foreign assistance, has become a key element in Venezuela's defense strategy. It can travel at hypersonic speeds, making it incredibly difficult to intercept, and has the capability to carry a 500-kilogram warhead designed to penetrate the thickest of ship hulls. Venezuela has deployed these missiles along its coast, positioning them strategically to create an effective deterrent against any foreign naval forces attempting to approach its territorial waters. In this hypothetical scenario, the confrontation begins when U.S. Navy vessels pass within range of Venezuela's territorial waters, a sensitive and contested area. The U.S. Navy, aware of Venezuela's growing capabilities, has heightened its alert status. Advanced sensors on board U.S. vessels begin tracking the movement of suspected Venezuelan launch platforms, trucks stationed along the coastline, and mobile missile launchers moving covertly under the cover of dense tropical forests. In response, the U.S. deploys a number of reconnaissance drones to gather intelligence and confirm the missile launch positions. These drones, equipped with infrared and radar systems, provide real-time surveillance of Venezuela's coastal defenses. But even with these high-tech tools, the U.S. Navy is aware that their enemy has the element of surprise on their side. Venezuela, knowing that a direct attack on U.S. assets would likely lead to swift retaliation, adopts a strategy of deterrence and calculated escalation. The Venezuelan military, using a combination of cyber warfare and electronic jamming, attempts to disrupt U.S. communications and radar systems. The jamming technology, although less advanced than what the U.S. possesses, is still capable of creating enough interference to delay the reaction time of American systems. For several tense hours, U.S. Navy vessels lose real-time targeting data, making them vulnerable to an attack. This tactic, while not a guaranteed win, demonstrates Venezuela's ability to complicate the decision-making process for U.S. commanders, forcing them to act with caution. As tensions build, the U.S. Navy must rely on its rapid decision-making processes to assess the potential threat. The moment the Cacique missile launchers are identified, the Navy's countermeasures are activated. Aegis systems begin scanning the horizon, identifying multiple missile trajectories as they lock onto the targets. In a split-second decision, the U.S. Navy deploys a series of anti-missile interceptors to neutralize the threat before it can reach its target. As the missiles are intercepted mid-flight, there is a brief moment of silence, followed by the undeniable realization that the next move could escalate the situation into a full-blown conflict. The Venezuelan strategy relies heavily on the psychological impact of their missile threat. The combination of advanced technology, the element of surprise, and the use of jamming tactics all aim to create an environment of uncertainty and doubt within U.S. decision-making circles. But the United States has experience in dealing with such situations. As tensions rise and missiles are launched, it's not just about neutralizing the physical threat. It's about controlling the narrative. The decision to strike back or de-escalate must be made in a matter of minutes, as any misstep could lead to catastrophic consequences. This confrontation, fictional as it may be, highlights the critical importance of defense and countermeasures in a modern conflict. In a world where technological superiority is often the deciding factor, the ability to outthink, outmaneuver, and outlast the enemy can make all the difference. The Caribbean, once a peaceful and strategic crossroads for trade, now becomes a place where the speed and accuracy of military decision-making determine the fate of not just two nations, but the stability of the entire global order. As tensions between the United States and Venezuela escalate in the Caribbean, the implications of such a conflict ripple far beyond the immediate region. The stakes are high, and what initially seems like a localized dispute could quickly turn into a global crisis. The military engagement in the Caribbean is about more than just territorial waters or control of maritime routes. It's about energy security, global economic stability, and the shifting dynamics of international power. The battle for control of this vital maritime corridor could have far-reaching consequences, especially considering Venezuela's immense oil reserves and its role in the global energy market. Venezuela, with its vast oil reserves, controls one of the world's most important energy lifelines. The Caribbean is not just a beautiful tropical paradise, it's a crucial transit route for oil exports. The potential disruption of oil flow through this region would have an immediate impact on global energy prices, sending shockwaves through economies around the world. As the conflict between the US and Venezuela escalates, global markets are already bracing for volatility. The price of crude oil could skyrocket, affecting everything from the cost of gasoline at the pump to the stability of nations that rely heavily on imported energy. Countries like China, India, and several European nations, who depend on Venezuelan oil, would find themselves at the mercy of a disrupted supply chain. The ripple effect wouldn't be limited to just energy prices. The global economy, already fragile due to various economic uncertainties, would face an additional strain. With Venezuela's oil output severely impacted by a military conflict, economies dependent on cheap energy might face recessions. Furthermore, nations in the Caribbean and Latin America, already struggling with political and economic instability, would be caught in the crossfire of a larger geopolitical struggle. The United States, with its military presence in the region, would likely be forced to either escalate its involvement or withdraw, each decision carrying its own consequences. But the ramifications extend beyond economics. The balance of power in the region, and potentially the world, would be permanently altered. Venezuela's increasing defiance of U.S. interests could inspire other countries to challenge the U.S.'s influence, particularly in the Western Hemisphere. A successful challenge to U.S. power in the Caribbean could embolden other countries with similar grievances, changing the way international relations are conducted. As tensions rise, nations that had once quietly abided by U.S. influence could reconsider their allegiances, seeking to shift the balance of power in their favor. This could lead to the emergence of new global alliances and a reshaping of the international order. At the same time, the military confrontation in the Caribbean would set a dangerous precedent for how countries defend their resources and territories. Venezuela, while weaker in military might compared to the US, has demonstrated that asymmetric warfare, unconventional tactics, and strategic alliances can create significant challenges for a technologically superior opponent. The tactics used by Venezuela, including the deployment of advanced missile systems, cyber warfare, and electronic jamming, would influence military strategies around the world. Countries facing similar power imbalances might seek to develop similar capabilities, further complicating global military dynamics. In conclusion, the potential conflict between the United States and Venezuela in the Caribbean is not just a regional issue, it's a global one. The consequences of this conflict extend far beyond the Caribbean Sea. Energy prices will spike, economies will falter, and the geopolitical landscape could be permanently altered. Venezuela's oil reserves, once considered a boon to its economy, may now become the flashpoint for a larger global conflict, forcing countries worldwide to reconsider their strategies for energy security and military engagement. The world is watching, knowing that the decisions made in the Caribbean could echo throughout the global order for years to come.